And we welcome you into this Thanksgiving Eve edition of Freshly Grated with Marcello Romano. My guest, as usual, is James Marilat. James Marilat's appearance on Freshly Grated is presented by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar. Check them out online and on Instagram at thebirdie.bar. James, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Cello? I've already started my holiday weekend. I'm here hanging out at the Birdie Bar. Gonna hit the links here, figure out which course I'm gonna play. So appreciate you squeezing me in here from on location.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for joining us. I know it's a short week, a busy week. Tell me what else they got going on at the Birdie Bar, man.
A couple of big things. Trivia tonight, every Wednesday, 6:30. It's always very cool. Fun way to kind of kick off the holiday weekend. Here in Louisville, there's a turkey trot tomorrow, which I don't know, man. Starting off your day going and running. I think I might skip that part, but the after run here at the Birdie Bar would be cool. And then just, you come down and like I say, you can play all sorts of courses. You name the course, you can play it. When Uncle Howard starts to drive you crazy about Friday or Saturday, pack up everybody in the car, come down here and get yourself a little mental break by hitting the links.
Do you have a real Uncle Howard, or did you make that up?
I made it up because I didn't want to use a real name. Because otherwise he'd be like, what the heck? He's calling me out. So no, made up.
Gotcha. All right, James, we get into Thanksgiving's tomorrow. We'll spend some time talking about Thanksgiving and where it ranks among the all-time on the power rankings of holidays. We'll do that later in the show. But as we get prepped for Thanksgiving, there's a real, I'm going to hit you with a real hard question to start. Are you more surprised that the Denver Broncos are sitting 9-2, or that we have yet to see our first snowfall?
Ooh, well, we've had it go this long, more recently than the Broncos were at 9-2. So I think I'm shocked that they're 9-2. But I have the Time Hop app. I don't know if you have that on your phone, and it brings up all the things from that day and previous years, right? So it's in your photos or what you tweeted, which the tweets are always a lot of fun to see what I was saying 6 years ago or whatever. But almost every single day, one of my photos is like a blizzard scene, and my kids are off in the backyard playing in the snow, and I'm looking outside and it feels like it's 50 degrees every day. So that one's surprising, but the Broncos being 9-2, I think that tops it. That's a shocker.
I agree with you. And there's kind of like a new narrative that's surrounding the Broncos. And I want to get your take on whether it spells confidence in Broncos country or more trepidation. And it's this idea, and you brought it up last week, of we're always moving the goalposts. We're putting another hurdle on the track for the Broncos. And that's now we have to get this number one seed. They can't lose. They can't lose ground, and they got to be able to host these playoff games. Is that because we haven't seen it in so long, or you think that's really what's going to take for the Broncos to make it all the way to Santa Clara if it's going to be them?
I just think it's playing the odds, right? Like if you get the one seed, you got to win twice as opposed to three times. I mean, that's 50% less wins you need. So that's just, Broncos country understanding the math. And then it's guaranteeing you're going to play at home. And they got the longest home winning streak in the league. So I think that part of it makes sense. I think there is some trepidation, right? Like I think people look at it and say, hey, if you got to go to New England, can you win there? I think they could win in Indy. They almost won in Indy already this year. But it's the gauntlet, right? And plus, if you can sit at home on Wild Card Weekend, get healthy while somebody else is hopefully taking care of and dispatching Buffalo or Kansas City or some of these good wild card teams that are gonna be sitting there on the schedule, and you're thinking, man, that's a tough way to start. It's just but I think it's just the path. If you got to beat Kansas City at home, then you got to beat Indy at home, and then you got to go to New England. That's a pretty tough road versus you sit at home, you wait for somebody to lose. You got Kansas City and New England at home after that. That just seems like a much more possible mission.
And hopefully deep into it. X factors are the question now. You're not going to have your leading rusher in J.K. Dobbins. He'll be out for the remainder of the season. Maybe a chance he could come back late in the season, but we don't think that's likely. That's going to play a part in if the Broncos get there. It's also going to be, what other pieces are you looking at? Like, you have to have performances. And I know Bo Nix, it's easy. It's easy to say that because it's the most important position in all of professional sports. So that's an easy one. And he hasn't lived up to the billing quite so far this year. Other than him, who has to perform to their height for this team to get where they want to go?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about running backs. It's okay, RJ Harvey. I know you're only a rookie, and I know they ideally wouldn't like to use you as an every down back, but I think he's going to have to transform into one. They have to get better production with J.K. Dobbins out than they've gotten in the games he hasn't played so far. So I think that's number one. And I think it's still this young receiving crew. It's like, okay, you kind of know what you're going to get for the most part every week out of Cortland, but who else, right? Can Troy Franklin be more consistent? Can Marvin Mims be more consistent? That's the kind of thing that I think we need to see. Somebody needs to step up and prove to be the true number two. And then I think at tight end, is Evan Ingram going to step up and finally be Evan Ingram? Are they still going to have to hodgepodge it together where we're seeing, Nate Atkins and Troutman and Prentice just making as many plays as the highly touted tight end that they signed? So I think it's all on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think there's much to worry about on defense. I think offensively, though, it's still, hey, other than Cortland, who's going to be a guy that shows up every single week? To me, that's the multiple X factors they have going.
Let me push back on you just a tad. And I'd probably tend to agree with you. But the X factor for me, like, what's the calling card of this year's team? Much like it was in 2015, you're led by your defense. I bring that up because late November and December last year, we saw the defense take a kind of a precipitous drop, James. So I'm like, that for me is like, can they maintain this level? And Sean Payton said it yesterday about his team and the turnover margin. As good as they've been defensively, they're not really turning teams over, which that's a huge difference if you want to bring up like comparisons to the 2015 team. You watch highlights of that team, and it's like every week somebody's making a big play, causing fumbles, pick sixes all over the place. So I think for me, like, yes, there's those areas like you have to be better offensively, but can you even be a little bit better defensively down the stretch where last year this is when we saw them kind of fall off a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, turnovers tend to come in bunches. There's a little bit of element of luck to it, right? I think playing consistent, good defense, getting after the passer, that's just whether you're a good defense or not. How the ball happens to bounce, right? That's the old cliche of it. It's an odd shaped ball. Sometimes it's not going to bounce your way. There's
You mean
truth in
every
that.
which way it falls off of telephone Telenova fungus hands?
Right. Right. I mean, I would like to see him force more turnovers, but man, we're being picky at that point. We're complaining about Cindy Crawford's mole. I think I think the defense of what happened to him last year is a fair point. They were the best defense in football before Thanksgiving, and one of the worst after. And we saw in the playoff game last year. Yeah, the offense didn't play good, but Buffalo was on the field for 42 minutes. Broncos defense couldn't get him off the field, so I think that's a valid concern because it's like, okay, we've kind of been here, done that, where they were great up to Thanksgiving. Now let's see how they are after Thanksgiving. But I expect Sunday night in Washington for this defense to look like it has all year.
We'll look forward to it. It's a big opportunity for the Broncos. They have 2 road games going to Washington Sunday night where the nation's going to be able to take a look at whether or not they're for real. I think a lot of the people I've asked you before, do you think they're having conversations about the Broncos around the nation, like as if they're for real? You look at some of the big publications, James, they're 3 in the power rankings. So they don't think it's fake or fugazi that we discussed last week, that it's not like the way we would discuss the Chicago Bears here. I don't think that's happening around the Denver Broncos around the nation.
Yeah, and I think there's a few reasons for that. One, 9-2 is kind of you can't luck your way to 9-2, right? Like, yeah, they've had a couple of breaks. The comeback against the Giants was a little fluky, but they also lost a couple of games that could have gone the other way. I think the record is they are what the record says they are. So I think that's part of it. I also think like when you compare them to Chicago, well, Chicago wasn't a playoff team a year ago. This is a Bronco team that went 10-7. We all can or debated all offseason. Well, how legit was that? You follow that up with 9-2. It's like, okay, they're legit. They're building upon what they started last year. And then I like Ben Johnson a lot, but Ben Johnson is a first year head coach. Sean Payton has, been there, done that. So I think that's part of why people are buying into this. If they're looking at it and saying, hey, here's Sean Payton doing what he did in New Orleans for so many years, putting together a winner. And there's so many different ways to win in this league. It's one of the reasons football is such a popular sport. You can win with offense, you can win with defense, you can win with running, you can win with passing, you can win with all sorts of different combinations. And Sean Payton is a guy that year in and year out tends to figure it out. I think that's why our people are buying into this team more than they're buying into Chicago or some of the other surprises this year.
He's having to use his left hand because AG went out. So now he's getting an opportunity to play, and not only play, but play with Nicola and Jamal, who's had a great start to his season.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, when you have the best player in the world on your team, that gives you a chance any night and certainly gives you a chance in any series. Would I be nervous if they played Oklahoma City? Yeah, because we saw what happened last year, but they almost beat the Thunder, who went on to win the championship with like four and a half players. I mean, MPJ was hurt, AG by the end of it was hurt. So that hamstring with Aaron Gordon starts to worry me, though. It's the same thing he had last year. He's got it again this year. Starts to become recurring. But put me in on the Nuggets, David Allen. I don't want to take my victory lap about Michael Malone, but I will. Told you. Told you. That guy was Ron Turcotte. Do you know who Ron Turcotte is?
It sounds familiar, but you're going to have to explain to the audience who that is.
He was the jockey who rode Secretariat to the Triple Crown. That's
Oh,
what Michael Malone was. He got on Nikola Jokic's back and just rode around the backstretch, and they're like, oh, it was all me. No, it wasn't. It was the greatest horse in the history of horse racing that Ron Turcotte ran to the. There's 500 jockeys that could have won the Triple Crown with Secretariat. I kind of feel the same way about Michael
I
Malone.
don't know how
David
many
Adelman, those got it
jockeys I
figured out.
can name in the history of horse
Oh,
racing. To be honest.
Billy Shoemaker, he could have rode him to a
Toby
Triple Crown for
Maguire.
sure.
I don't know. I don't know many that I would know, but I get your point there.
Yeah.
So we move along from the Avs and the Nuggets. We're talking about the Broncos and what they have to do to kind of realize that full potential of success. Now we get on to what we do each and every week on Freshly Grated with Marcello Romano is we do our Super Bowl predictions and who's going to be in Santa Clara. We're through 12 weeks of the NFL season. And this is subject to change because of what's gone on. I don't know that last week will change very much of your opinions or ours. I don't even really remember who I picked. I think I had the Rams and the Broncos, but that's who I'm going to go with. I'm going to stick with right now. How about you,
Yeah,
James?
I'm the same. That's who we both had last week. I'm sticking with the Rams and the Broncos. There's no reason for me to change. I look atop the AFC and I don't think the Colts are going. I don't think the Patriots are going. Does Baltimore worry me? Sure. When the Chiefs get in, will they worry me? Yeah, because they've been to 5 of the last 6, so of course they're going to worry me. But I think the Broncos, if they can get that 1 seed, they're going. And the Rams, they're the most balanced team in football. You look up almost any stat, and like they're atop the list. So they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, they play good defense. Sean
They're the
McVay's a
most
great
fun
coach,
team
so
to watch in the NFL right now, too. Like
they
each
are.
year, you usually have someone like that, but dude, Stafford, what he's doing? What is he throwing like 29 touchdowns to his last pick? It's
I know it's
crazy.
crazy, and I don't know that I'm buying Seattle. I'm still rooting for Detroit, but boy, I feel like kind of they had the magic the last couple of years, and it's just not really there. Although Jameer Gibbs is, I mean, that might be the best offensive player in football. That guy is just unbelievable. So I'm rooting for them. But right now, if you made me pick, which you make me pick every week, I'm taking the Broncos and the Rams.
We go out to Dan Chavez, Chavi, our producer of this show. You get the last say. Who's in Santa Clara come February, Chavi?
No, I'm with you guys 100%. Rams, Broncos, Giants take the Lions to overtime. It looks scary. Like James said, Gibbs puts it in. And we saw what the Rams did to the Buccaneers. Devontae Adams and Stafford are a cheat code right now. Give me the Rams and Broncos in Santa Clara. Let's do it.
All right. There's your predictions. We're going to do these last couple pretty quick. Okay, James?
All right, fire away.
CSU strikes in the night, last night. They go out and they hire Jim Mora. No, not that Jim Mora. This Jim Mora Jr. Do you like the move of what I know you're not a big fan, and you and I come to, we almost come to blows when it comes to CSU CU, but you're a football fan. It has left a lot to be desired across the Front Range this year as far as collegiate football goes. What do you think of the hire?
I like it. It's a big name hire, right? He's been an NFL coach of the year. He's been a college coach, so it's not like he's coming in and doing something he's never done before. It's a big name. I think when you're trying to recruit and you're going out in NIL circles and the portal and all the rest of that, he's a name people will recognize. And I guess for the people who are pushing back on it, my question would be, well, who could CSU have hired that would have been a better fit or a better name or a better hire? I just don't see it out there. So I like it. I think the Rams are going to be better certainly than they've been. So I like it. But you're the resident Ram. What do you think of it?
I actually listen. I was on Denver Sports Tonight last night with Dante. He brought up, I think, Colin Klein, his old Loveland quarterback, went to K-State. He's
Yep.
at Texas A&M. I didn't really have anyone else out there. I know I brought up the Cordell Stewart thing a couple weeks ago, but that wasn't a real, I think dig. I think they did their job. They did their due diligence. What he's been able to do in the 4 seasons he's been at UConn to kind of turn that program around. All I'm looking at for now as a Ram fan is like, can we get competent, competitive football? Can we get that back? And I think Jim Mora Jr. will be able to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's a really good football coach. Again, he's had success at both levels. So I think the fact that he's had success in college in a couple of different places shows you, okay, he understands that game. And then most of the kids that are, you're trying to get to come there via the portal or as a high school recruit, they're all looking to get to the league. So somebody who's got connections at that level, I think certainly helps too.
James, we're going to wrap it up with this. This is probably the most difficult question you're going to be asked for the next few days as you get ready to get into your tryptophan-induced coma. But Thanksgiving, where does it rank on the holiday list? And then a bigger hitting question, will turkey ever kind of be phased out of Thanksgiving? We hear and the reason I ask the question is I hear so many people that don't love turkey. They're doing different things for this holiday. And you remember back in the day during Dickens' time, he's writing A Christmas Carol. What did everybody eat for Christmas dinner or Christmas supper? When
Turkey,
Ebenezer,
ham? I don't know.
when Ebenezer woke up from being visited by the 3 spirits of Christmas, he threw open his window and he goes, "You young lad, go get me the biggest goose in the window." Have you ever eaten goose?
No. But I want to run over a bunch of them out in the parking lot every day. Will it ever be phased out? Well, it's already been phased out in my family. Like we are not a turkey crew, so we do other things. I think tomorrow's prime rib. I don't know. My brother's in charge, so I think that's what he's got. No, it won't be turkey because he's the reason we phased it out. But it ain't going anywhere. Traditions die hard. If I went to somebody's house and they had turkey, I'd be fine with it, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. I do love Thanksgiving though, right? You got 9 hours of football. You have no like guilt of like, oh, I got to get out and do some chores or go to the gym or whatever. You can just sit on the couch. You can wear your sweatpants all day if you want. You can eat, you can drink, you watch football, you open up the app, make the games a little more interesting. I love Thanksgiving. It's like Christmas without having to have the pressure of buying gifts. Sign me up. It's number 2. Independence Day is number 1. That's the best holiday. It's summertime. You're outside. You're cracking open a cold one. The thing about Independence Day, and this doesn't apply to me because I love the people I hang out with for Thanksgiving. But as a general rule, Independence Day, you get to hang out with people you want. Thanksgiving and Christmas, you have to hang out with people that you have to hang out with. That's why it's down the list for me. But I put it 2. Independence Day's 1. New Year's Eve is last. And then you can fill them all in from there.
Wow. Where's Christmas rank for you?
People will be shocked, right? Shocked that I don't like Christmas. It's not that I dislike it. It's just, it was fun as a kid. And it's fun when you had little kids. But I don't know. The weather stinks and you got to come up with gift ideas. And there's all sorts of pressure. There's just, like I say, there's pressure. There's pressure.
I'm going Christmas. I have to, disagree with James.
I'm gonna Irv Brown this and walk off this show.
Well, good, because it's about over. All right. For Dan Chavez, Chavi producing the product, we thank him. Thank you all for watching. James, appreciate you. Hope you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll catch up with you guys next week. And as Berman used to say, let us be amongst the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. It's been Freshly Grated on Denver Sports.